Hey everyone, welcome to day 2 of our Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. Welcome! I'm going to say what's up in the chat real quick, and maybe we can move down the chat pod a little bit so I can see the updates. But I see we've got Jan Eric's here. Let's see, Cindy. Cindy participated in a previous Daily Creative Challenge. Awesome to have you here. And if you are totally new to Daily Creative Challenge, I'll just give you a quick intro before we get started. This is basically a 2-week boot camp for Photoshop. It's super friendly to beginners. We're not going to be throwing any crazy tools at you or anything too overwhelming. These are just basic things to help you create the designs that you want to create. Like today, we are working on an event invite, perfect for social media or just setting up basic graphic design. We've done some photo editing yesterday, some type yesterday. We're going to be doing compositing, just really basic stuff that Photoshop is really good at. What's up, Dorina? Claire's here, Linda, Johnny. Awesome, glad to have you all here. So if you are wondering how you can get involved and learn about the challenges each day, we do have a website that has all the info for you. I'm showing it on my screen right now. And it has a register page, and you'll notice that you don't have to officially register anywhere. You don't have to give your info. All you have to do is join us on Slack. Slack is like basically a team workspace where you can chat with us every day. I'll show it to you, actually. It's like a giant chat room where you can share your work, get feedback. We've been chatting all morning so far, and every morning you'll see Lee or someone else will post what the challenge is for the day. So you'll see at 8:50 this morning, she posted that the event invite with a summer vibe is the challenge. So as you're working, you can post and get feedback. You can give an introduction of yourself, let people know who you are. This is Janie, graphic designer, aspiring web designer, developer from Nebraska, looking to become better at using Photoshop. It's that easy. So come over and join us, totally free. And the link is here on the registration page, or you can also go to bit.ly/daily/Slack. Really easy. And we're going to be here for the 2 weeks in Slack every day, giving you feedback and helping you. That's one way we support you. We're also supporting you here with the live show every day. So until next Friday, we'll be here from 12 to 12:30, noon in between the other Adobe Live segments. And we'll be working through the challenge of the day, which is what I'll be doing. And then finally, we're supporting you on Behance. So that is the way that we are going to actually be seeing your finished work. You're going to be uploading to Behance after you finish your submission. So for example, this is Mehul's submission for today. He got it done really, really quickly, even before we started streaming this morning. So you'll put it here, you'll use the keyword PS Daily Challenge when you submit it, which I'll show you how to do, and then you can give feedback. So I'm gonna tell Mehul, I love, if I can type, the color composition in this piece. Post a comment, you can appreciate things. It's a really great way to build your creative community. We got some awesome submissions so far this morning. Okay, is there anything else I need to tell you? Oh, one final thing, we'll talk about this later, but we're going to be adding all of our submissions to one single Behance project. So you'll notice if we go to my profile, I have my project for my Daily Creative Challenge, and I'm going to put all of my work in this one project. We've done a Daily Creative Challenge for Illustrator a couple weeks ago, and you'll notice all of my day's challenges are in one project, and this is a great way for us to keep everything concise, and it's a great way for you to share all of your work afterwards in one concise piece. Okay, so yeah, Walter, I showed your work. If we are all ready, maybe we can jump into it. Don't jump into us. This is not Quantum Leap. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to open Photoshop. Now, I already have my files open that I've been working on, but if you are opening Photoshop, you will probably see something like this. So you'll have different sizes that you can use, print sizes. If you want to eventually print it out, you could do tabloid, 11 by 17, different sizes of posters, popular sizes for illustrations. You can really choose one of these templates, or you can make your own size here. So maybe 1,000 by 1,000 pixels if we want something square, perfect for sharing on Instagram or an email. Go ahead and do what sounds good to you. But for this, we're focusing on a square. So like I said, you could share it on Instagram, Twitter, an email. You could even print it out. It's perfect. And this is the design that we're going to be making today. You'll notice that there's some photo editing in there. There's some shape. There's even some texture that you can see in here and even in the lettering. And I want to make it really clear that you don't need to use any crazy hardware for this. You don't need an extra tablet. You don't need an iPad. You don't need any of that stuff. We can use typefaces that look like hand lettering. We can just use our mouse, our mice, to make some beautiful textures happen. So let's get started. Everybody with me? Sound good? All right, so the first thing I'm going to do to get this beautiful kind of orange background is I'm going to make a new solid color fill. When I click on that, and I'm going to turn on Keycaster so you know what hotkeys I'm pressing. When I open up my color fill, this little color picker window will appear. And if I hover over a color that I want and click it, it will fill my entire artboard with that color. So maybe I choose this orange. You can also just go in here, pick different colors that you fancy. But let's just pick this orange. Alrighty. Now another way for you to add a fill color in a layer is you're going to select your orange and just press Option Delete. That will fill your entire layer with the color that you have selected. So you'll notice over here, I have my foreground and my background colors. I select my foreground. Maybe I do a blue. Option Delete. It's blue now. So like we talked about yesterday, there's a million different ways to do the same thing in Photoshop. It just really depends if you want it to be destructive, if you want to be able to edit it later. Lots of things to learn. Alrighty. So you'll notice that I have this awesome image in the background. I got this from a stock website. We have Adobe Stock, which is a great way to find beautiful images. So I am going to pull it up from my libraries, which is where I have it saved. And I'm just going to drag it in to my artboard. Really easy. Now you notice it doesn't quite fit, so I'm going to grab an edge right here with this handle. I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm just going to drag it out and place it. Maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller. Awesome. And yes, I am using artboards in Photoshop, and we'll go over this on another day maybe, but it's just a way to work on a bunch of different workspaces. Okay, so I obviously put the photograph on top of my color layer, and the reason I did that is I'm going to change the mode of this photograph so that you can see the colored layer beneath it. So let's go over here to our layer styles. That is this blending mode for the layer, this drop down over here. And when you click that, you have tons of options. It can be a little bit overwhelming. One that I know works well for this effect is overlay. You could also do something maybe like screen, which will lighten the image, or multiply, which will make it a little bit darker. But I'm going to do overlay. It keeps the vibrancy of the image. I think it's really nice. Cool. Everybody with me? Awesome. Now I like the vibrancy, but I'm also going to tone it down maybe a little bit. Let's add a new layer. Choose white, and we're going to do our Option Delete to fill that layer with white. All right, I made all my work disappear. That's not good. I'm going to go over to my opacity slider for this layer. Make sure you have it selected. I'm going to drag it down maybe to 30%. Cool. So it's still vibrant, it's still very orange, but it has a little bit of maybe like a faded retro effect. Nice. All right, everybody with me? We're gonna move on to the shapes. And if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. We've got people in here to help, and you can also ask them in Slack. You can always watch the replay, ask your questions in Slack while you're doing so. So to make this circle, there's a couple different ways I could do it in Photoshop. I could just drag out a selection, fill it with orange, but that's kind of destructive and it isn't really easy to edit it later. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use the ellipse tool. It is over here in your toolbar. It might be hiding under your rectangle tool, or you can just tap U to select it. And you can tap Shift U to go through all of the different options that are hiding within this tool. So for example, I press Shift U, it goes to the next one. Shift U, Shift U, Shift U. It's kind of a fun word, Shift U. What's up, Rita from Morocco? Thanks for joining us. What time is it there? It must be pretty late. So we have our ellipse. I'm going to click, hold Shift and Option right in the center, and that will draw a perfect circle right from the middle. Easy. So it is white, and that is not something that we want. We want it to be this nice kind of sunny orange. So I still have my circle selected. I'm going to pick an orange from over here. And you'll notice in my properties panel, it has all of my shape properties in here. So it has, does it have a stroke? Is it a dashed line? Those kind of things. We're going to click into this color and pick one of the oranges that we've been using. You can see it's super easy to change color just by pressing or clicking different ones. In this way, it's really similar to using Adobe Illustrator. So let's pick this orange. Sounds good. All right, and you don't have to use a circle. You could use a triangle, a square, a custom shape. We'll get into this later. So we have our shape, and now we're going to add the actual text, the info, to our invite. This is a big part of design. What are you trying to communicate? In this example, we are trying to communicate that there is a summer party in Santa Cruz, California. So I made a new layer. I'm going to tap T to go to our type tool. I'm just going to click within the circle. I'm going to type summer. So it's obviously orange and it's obviously very tiny. I'm going to change my color to white. And I'm going to find a cool typeface. Now the typeface that I'm going to use is actually Zantz from our Bauhaus collection that was just created at Hidden Treasures. If you don't know what that is, basically a group of students and graphic designers recreated lost typefaces that were never finished, that are in the Bauhaus style. I'm going to grab the text size, and I'm going to increase it. And there we go, summer. Done, just kidding. We have a little bit more to do. Oh, Aliou from Paris, welcome. And Sarah, this is your first time joining. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. You're in SF, so are we. All right, so we have summer, and now we're gonna add party. I'm going to go back to our type tool. I'm going to click, I'm gonna type party, but I wanna use this script type. This is what I was meaning when I said that you don't need to use a tablet with a pen to make script. There's some really nice script types that you can download from Typekit. So there we go, party. Let's make it yellow to stand out from the orange. We're gonna go to our move tool. I'm gonna do Command T to get my transformation box. I'm gonna turn it at an angle. I'm gonna drag it a little bit over here. Just make it a little bit exciting. Perfect, press enter to commit to those changes. Now you'll notice over here, I do have a little bit of a drop shadow to add a little bit of depth to this design. So to do that, I'm gonna make sure that I have my party layer selected. I'm gonna go down to my layer styles. That is the effects or FX icon down here. Click it, select drop shadow, and people get a little bit scared when you talk about drop shadows. It can be not the best design choice if it's overused, but we're gonna make this very subtle. Make sure your blend mode is on multiply. You have the orange of the background selected. Just click that, and my opacity will be about 55. Cool, looks good. All right, let's finish the rest of our text. It's gonna be in Santa Cruz, maybe at the boardwalk. And I'm going to change my text back to Xants and drop the size down. This is where the hierarchy of design really comes in. We have the title, which is in the largest type size, and the location, which is a little bit smaller. Let's make sure it's white. Perfect. Okay, sounds good. Now let's get into adding some details. One thing that I do want to do is I want to add another custom shape. So back here we have our ellipse tool still selected. I'm going to do Shift U until I get to my custom shapes. You'll see this kind of blobby, it's almost like Ditto, the Pokemon. Selected, and I'm going to go up here to pick a custom shape. These are already preloaded into Photoshop, so it's really easy to find something you like. You can add more, you can do animals, arrows, symbols, etc., etc. But I thought this kind of 90s Nickelodeon-esque lightning bolt was kind of cool. So I'm just going to click and drag out my shape. You'll notice that I can kind of skew it to any proportion that I want. So I'm going to hold Shift to make sure that it is skewed and constrained. Alrighty, it is yellow, which is not something that I want. So let's make it white. If it'll let me. Maybe. Maybe not. So let's drag it on a little bit so it overlaps a little bit more. Cool. I like that. Let's just delete this layer mask. I'm not sure why it appeared. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we have our Nickelodeon-esque lightning bolt. Now let's add a little bit of texture to the circle. We're going to go back to our ellipse. We're going to make a layer on top of it, and this is where something really cool happens. We're going to clip the top layer to the bottom layer. This is a little bit advanced, so just watch here. Make sure you have your layer on top. I'm going to hold Option, and you'll notice this icon appears where there's a little arrow pointing down. Hold Option, click that, and now it is clipped to it. So if you're wondering what that means, basically, if I take an orange and I turn my brush to multiply, and I make my brush really big, and I draw inside, you'll see that it's constrained to my circle, which is very cool. So let's drop the opacity down and just kind of scribble a little texture inside the circle. I can barely see it. Let's darken it up a little bit. Cool. I like that. Just adds a little visual interest to the design. Lightning and a beach umbrella. Scary. I know, that could be a little bit scary. Okay. Sweet. So we have our texture, and the final thing we're going to do is add a little bit of texture to our type. Like I mentioned before, you don't need a tablet or a pen to make your lettering look hand done. All we're going to do is we're going to add a mask to this layer. So make sure Summer layer is selected, and go down here, click the mask icon. You'll see a mask is created, and that allows us to erase parts of the lettering. So if I have black selected, it erases, and if I have white selected, you'll see over here I have white, and I color back in, you'll notice that it comes back in. There we go, so black and white. So let's just add a little bit of texture to the edge. Nothing crazy. Since I don't have a ton of control, and I'm just using my finger, I guess I could use the mouse. I'm just gonna add a little tasty bit of toothiness to this text. Awesome. I like it. So I think we're done. We have our invite. And yesterday I showed you a really quick way to export, but there was some compression on the image, and that can be an issue. So I'm going to show you a different way to export to get the quality that you like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, I'm going to right click on my artboard, and I'm going to select Export As. Yesterday I did Quick Export as PNG. Today we're going to do Export As. It'll bring up this window, and it allows you to choose, do you want it to be a PNG? Do you want it to be a JPEG or an SVG? You have options. I'm going to choose a JPEG. 100% quality is important, and we're going to export it. Now in my day 2 folder, I'm going to say finished invite. We're going to export it, and it should be there. So let's turn Keycaster off. Let's go to my portfolio and let's get this uploaded. This is the most important part. This is how you share with us and how we find your work. Alrighty. And yeah, the right click is only on the artboards, Mel. So if you want to just export it anyways, you just go to File, Export, and Export As. It does the same thing. It's just a different way of doing it. Okay, so we're on Behance. We're gonna jump into Daily Creative Challenge. Great, we have our first day. I'm going to go to Edit Project and we're going to upload this piece. And if you have further questions, please feel free to join Slack. That is how you're going to talk to us every day. Let's see, DCC, day 2. That's how we're going to give you feedback, and that's how you can give other people feedback as well. We've got our illustration uploaded. You'll notice that the quality is really, really nice. And I'm going to say day 2, beach, party, invite. Now this is the most important part that's going to help us discover your work and help you discover other people's work. In your settings tab, go to discoverability and use the keyword, one word, PS Daily Challenge. It's basically like a hashtag. It's going to help you filter out your project and help us find your work so that we can see it. Like this is how I found Mehul's work earlier in Khaloud's and Tamir's. So please make sure you do that. I'm going to save it. And if we go to my portfolio, let's jump into it. It's there, it's great. I want to go to the beach now. I almost have like a rainbow theme. Maybe tomorrow my thing needs to be yellow, the next day green. Who knows? And Jason says, I make it look so easy. This is a lot of tools that I just kind of threw at you. They're all very simple, but please feel free to watch the replay. You can watch it right after this stream. Although I wouldn't recommend it because Nathan's up next and he's going to teach you other amazing things. Anna is after him, but maybe after the live stream's done for the day, you could rewatch the stream, check it out, slow it down, and please ask questions in Slack. That's where we're going to be hanging out and answering. Thanks everyone. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. So once you get it uploaded to Behance, you can join us on Slack, bit.ly/dailyslack. I'll show you one more time what that's all about. It's totally free, promise. You can come in, hang out, chat. I'm gonna say, hey everyone, I'm live. You'll see this little chat enters. Get feedback. I could even post the work that I just did and get some feedback about it. Actually, one of you helped me out earlier, Mark. He gave me some feedback on my Georgia O'Keeffe submission, which I think was really smart, and I hope to implement it in the future. All right, everyone. So if you have any questions, please feel free to join Slack. You will get the challenge for tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time in the announcement tab there. That is right here. You'll click that. And that's where someone will be posting the daily challenge. And until then, stick around for Nathan's stream next with Ren, and we will see you tomorrow at noon. Thanks everyone. Bye.